Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic and welcome back to the channel. And today, for you guys, is another movie review. Today we're tackling the final Evil Dead film, but before I get the movie From Hell, which is part of it, don't worry. That's also up. Let's hope it doesn't freaking kill itself in the middle of recording, but it hasn't fallen in 4 days, so maybe it will this time, who knows. We're talking about Evil Dead Rise. Now this is the latest Evil Dead film from director Lee Cronin. And when I first when about this movie, Lee Cronin, I was like, oh, who the fudge is that? It sounds like a Shakespearean weird crow creature, you know what I mean? It just sounds like his name just sounds mythical and weird. So I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then I'm like, oh, he's doing Evil Dead. That's even cooler. And I was very excited to see this movie. When it dropped last year, and I was just stupid pumped. I remember seeing it with my friend, and then if you guys know, I did like a whole bet with Alan, and I was like, hey, I'll take you to see Evil Dead. That's more like I'll force you to go see Evil Dead Rise with me, and then in return, you can take me to any movie you want as revenge. I shouldn't have done that because he took me to see Barbie, and we know how that turned out, but. He hated it. I think he liked like one shot in the movie where possessed Ellie, or not Ellie. Yeah, she's going with she's kind of like looking at the manhole window thing, the peeper thing in the door. That was kind of cool, like a weird FOV style thing. But yeah, I think I loved it. You know what I mean? I think it was really great. This is my third or fourth time watching this, and yeah, it's just a fantastic film. And obviously, it is the first Evil Dead film that we're not in the cabin. Obviously, you do kind of start in a cabin, I guess, but you kind of move out of that toward the beginning, and that's of course where Evil Dead rises, right? And we get the coolest effing title card sequence in history of film. Not even gonna lie. So yeah, the possessed, whatever her name was, Stephanie or whatever, she rises from the water, and that's really great. And we're like, oh cool, and then it cuts to I don't know, a week or so later or whatnot. A few days later, and we get, of course, all of these characters in the apartment. The apartment building has, of course, become very iconic. The building itself, and yeah, of course, Ash isn't in this. But again, I think we're kind of past that part where Ash doesn't need to be in an Evil Dead thing to make it good, right? Obviously, he was in Evil Dead 1, 2, 3, or maybe Dark Crisis 3. He was in the Ash vs. Evil Dead show, which is, of course, amazing. He was in the Evil Dead 2013 film as a post-credit scene, so I guess that kind of counts. And then, of course, he is in this as well in the form of a pastor or a priest, or maybe just Ash in and of it's just, when he goes back in time at some point. And I like that. It's kind of cool that Ash has these misadventures off screen, and we kind of get to see how that plays out in this, turntable style filming instead of just reading from a book, right? You're kind of listening to it. I thought that was kind of cool. We get I might forget someone's name, but we get Danny, we get someone, we get the other girl, and we get Beth, and we get, I believe her name's Ellie. I genuinely love these characters. I'm reviewing this movie like 3 days after I saw it, but still. I do think that, Cassie, that's right, Cassie. I think that it is a very, well-made movie in terms of the effects, obviously, you know what I mean? You're obviously going to get good effects. It's that thing Evil Dead, right? But yeah, the practical blood, the gore, I think Evil Dead 2013 had, the most amount of blood in a movie, and I think they actually passed that in this. This does, however, it does feel, I don't want to say sanitized, because it's not. It's still extremely graphic. But compared to Evil Dead 2013, where I've said, in that review, it felt very much like grimy and dirty and real. Maybe it's because of the color palette and just the darkness, the dark coloring that they did do it, where it's just kind of dark gray looking all the time. This does have more color, right? This is more of a vibrant looking movie, right? We're in California or wherever we're at. It starts out in a pretty colorful cabin. It goes to Beth in a bathroom, colorful neon looking bathroom. Then they go to the apartment, and it's not ultra colorful, but there's a little bit more vibrancy to it than 2013. Maybe that's why it feels a little bit less graphic and less creepy. But the fact that this mom, this is probably the saddest Evil Dead movie too, because obviously spoiler alert, but bad stuff happens, and Ellie has to kind of go through a lot of bad stuff. Is that her name, Ellie? I think it's Ellie. It doesn't even have to say on the back cover, so that's great. That's cool. But yeah, the mom, she goes effing crazy, and she tries to kill all her kids. And that, I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I used to have nightmares of my mom trying to kill me. I don't know why. I don't. My mom is the most normal, she's not a killer, so it's really, that I know of, so it's really weird that she tries to, I think she turned into the Joker, turned into a jellyfish, weird shit. I don't know, it's weird. But in this, it is kind of interesting and, a really kind of unique idea that, yeah, we're out of the cabin. But B, we're in a brand new environment, and also the mom is going crazy. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of cool. Obviously, she does get possessed by the Deadites in the elevator or whatnot, but it's interesting how they can kind of make an entire hour and 40-minute, whatever long movie. This is 97. I don't know if that's actually right, but they make it not boring, and it feels claustrophobic in a way too, because you're in a effing apartment. I know the cabin was tiny too, but this feels more condensed in a way. And all the stuff that happens is crazy. All the kills are really inventive. Evil Dead 2013 again had a lot of not really any humorous moments at all. This one has a few of the humorous moments left. Like Beth stabs her sister in the neck with a pencil or whatever, or the scissors or whatever, when she's listening to the recorder, and there's like a beat where she's just kind of like standing there like, really, and then it cuts to her like getting chucked through a freaking door, stuff like that. Obviously they kind of redo the eyeball thing from Evil Dead 2, where instead of the girl choking on the eyeball, it's the one teenager guy, he like chokes and dies on the eyeball. Again, it's morbid funny, but at least they're trying to do a little bit more funniness than 2013. And again, Ash makes an appearance, which is great, but really the core of this movie is the mom and the sister, right? Like, this is a tale about a sisterhood that, one sister really is Ellie or whatever. She's really, really good with her kids, and she just wants to live a normal life. She's peaceful. She's, obviously dealing with some bad stuff because her husband or boyfriend or whatever left, and she's kind of alone with her kids in this apartment that's going to get essentially torn down. And then you get Beth, who is, kind of like a groupie DJ who is basically just trying to make a living, and she's kind of getting too absorbed by her job, and she doesn't really have enough time for her sister, and she kind of feels responsible for that. And of course, Ellie goes crazy and tries to kill everyone, and so do the other people as well. But Beth, in the end, of course, is victorious, and I really like that. She kind of starts the movie as, I don't want any kids, I don't want anything to do with this, I just want to, live my life. And then it turns out, yeah, she's not only pregnant with a kid, but she also has to look over, and I'm pretty sure she adopts Cassie in the end. She's the only one left. There's this really good shot where Cassie's like, are you going to be a mom someday? And she kind of looks, obviously metaphorically, yes, she's going to be a mom, concretely, physically, she has a kid in her, but also it's a metaphor that, yeah, she's pretty much looking after Cassie as well, saying, yeah, I'm going to be a mom. Really good moment. Obviously, you have the come get some moment, the chainsaw kill, which is really effing gruesome and good with the wood chipper or whatever. You get Henrietta's pizza reference in the the pizza box in the beginning. And yeah, of course, the jump scares are great as well. Really good effect. I think Lee Cronin is really, really good at setting the mood correctly, Like, there's good jump scares. There's, a lot of blood and gore. Of course, the elevator scene and all that's really great as well. But this is also, kind of introducing the greater lore, right? As I mentioned in the other reviews, you got the 3 books, right? You got the book from Ash, trilogy, Evil Dead 2013 book, Evil Dead Rise book, each one different, each one that Ash, kind of mentioned. And the book can, of course, change itself and change time and space at will, because it can do that. It's a Necronomicon. But I thought it was really cool, it wasn't just like, oh, we don't know where this takes place. It's a spin-off, it's a reboot, it's a... No, like, this is a sequel, and they actually said it takes 10 years after Evil Dead 2013. So that's really great. Again, it's really cool to know that all of these Evil Dead movies, and even the From Hell film, again, I'll get to it, that they're all in the same continuity. It's really, really cool. It can be a bit confusing at times, especially if you watch Ash vs. Evil Dead, you get the time travel thing, but it all makes sense. They do explain it. They do their best to explain it, and I think it pretty much all works. But yeah, again, man, you're getting great music. You're getting great acting. Like Ellie is she is the best Deadite in Evil Dead history in terms of how she acts, the facial expressions she has, the amount of range she can do with body stuff. Obviously, a lot of that is wires, but she jumps out of the bathtub and she's kind of curling around and she kind of hunches over and vomits up the milk or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of gross shit in this, but it really, really makes you feel for this family who pretty much just want to live a normal life. And Danny, I don't know if he's a boy or girl, I got no clue, but he unleashes the dead, which I remember people really you had people like me who were like, oh, this is masterful, and it's got a really emotional core to it with motherhood and the issues of being a mom and the issues of family and sticking out for each other and loving each other no matter what, and the violence and the all that. And then you get people who are like, there's a trans, it's woke, and I'm like, yeah, I guess. I don't like woke shit either. You guys know that. I don't really think most of us do. But, I'll be the first to admit when something's woke and bad. I don't even know if it's woke. You know, like I think the actor is trans. I don't know what he or she is. I don't care. But they don't mention it at all. They don't shove it down their throat. It's not even mentioned. Unless it's just a really girly, weak-ass looking dude. I doubt it. I don't know. Again, it never bothered me. I know some people online really don't like, and again, you know, I'm as Republican as they come, but I'm just not as, you know, I don't care. Like, it's not, if it's not shoved down my throat, I don't care. And they don't even mention it, which is good. You know what I mean? I don't care about that. They got this character, this guy, girl, whatever, Danny, to, I mean, I would just say he's not the best actor in the world, but I think, you know, he does a good job with what he's given for the most part. Cassie is great. Again, she is really, really good. I think her name's Nell. It's either Neil or Nell Fisher. I think she did a great job. This was her first movie. Obviously, it's what a first movie, you know what I mean? We're going to cover you in blood and cut your freaking arm off, you know what I mean, or whatever. We're going to try to kill you with a chainsaw, okay? I know you're 6, but here's a toy, you know what I mean? I don't know. But I feel like it was kind of cool that Lee Cronin, you know, when they did finish the film, they actually had 2 versions, from what I heard, from what I saw on Twitter, at least, from like a picture. They had the normal version for adults, and then they had like a child. I don't know how the hell you make a child-friendly version of this, but apparently they did, and she got to see that, so that was cool. It's kind of like the kid, the fat kid from Deadpool 2, who's also in the Monsterverse. When Deadpool 2 released, he wasn't allowed to watch it because he lives in New Zealand or whatever, and he wasn't allowed. So they had like a different version, which, yeah, that's kind of cool. But I think that, again, the emotional core of this is something we haven't really seen before. We've gotten emotional moments in this franchise before, but just to see a mom go crazy and try to kill her kids and have the sister kind of take over, it's an unnerving concept, and they do it in a great way. I mean, you got the cheese grater scene, you get the cabin scene in the beginning, you get the end scene with the wood chipper and the chainsaw, you get the the amazing scene. I mean, every single time it gets me. When Beth is about to shoot the lock, you know, before they get in the elevator, and you hear Ellie, who just got stabbed in the nose with scissors, she goes, "Bethy Boop!" Or, you know, like her name's Beth, and like the nickname is Bethy Boop, like Betty Boop. Get it? Funny. And she says Bethy Boop, and every single effing time there's like a lightning flash, and then it just transcends on her like floating. It always gets me, man. It's unnerving as fudge. And obviously, you know, there's some really good symbolism as well when Danny finds the book, and like Jesus jump scares you with the cross. You know, it's like a little, you know, symbolizing that Jesus is trying to save you and kind of tell you to stop, you know, don't do that. You get the scene where Ellie, before she gets in the elevator, before she gets possessed, she kind of looks at the exit sign, metaphorically telling the audience this is your cue to exit if you want. I mean, it's really good how I mean, the directing of this is just off the chain, you know what I mean? Really good stuff. The jump scares are great, the effects are really great, the acting is phenomenal, especially from Cassie, the little girl. I think, you know, sometimes you get child acting that isn't too great. I think she did a really good job in this film. I mean, like her expressions and her vocal range and all that when she's scared and all that. I mean, she does a really good job with the acting. Of course, you know, Danny with the when he gets stabbed, when he, you know, lights his sister on fire and she's kind of eating the glass. I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff that you really, you know, it's maybe not as brutal, like non-stop brutal as Evil Dead 2013. This does have a little bit more downtime, but that's good in my opinion because it makes you care for these characters, you know what I mean? If it was just consistent gore and violence and jump scare, it would be good because that's what Evil Dead 2013 pretty much is, but this one I think that they wanted to do something different. And they wanted to bring you a story and characters that you actually cared for instead of just, oh, he's dead, oops, what do? You know what I mean? Like, no, like, every single time a character died or got possessed, I felt bad. And obviously I know what happens, but, you know, that's testament to the good writing. And obviously it's not the best writing in the world, right? I mean, yeah, Danny's got he likes music, so he's got the music table, and that plays a role. Beth is like a music repair person or whatever, so she's able to kind of hook things up, you know, get things going and listen to the tape. Cassie has Staphany, his little like staff thing she has, and she impales her sister with it. So there's little things that people use. You know, we kind of had that nail stuff too with the nail gun in 2013, but this one feels like, oh, okay, we know these characters' strengths, we know their weaknesses, we know what they like, we know what they dislike, we kind of have a little bit of a slice of life of this family, and then stuff goes crazy, and then we're able to kind of, go back to that and actually go, oh, okay, this character can use Staphany, this character can use the turntable, or whatever, or DJ the answer, or whatnot. I think that's kind of cool. I like the element of motherhood and the element of sisterhood as well, how the sister, again, she cares, but she doesn't really know how to show it, and then by the end she's able to, save Cassie and kind of begin a new life with her. And again, it ends in a pretty, I don't know how they're going to continue it with, maybe it'll, I don't know, maybe Cassie and Beth will show up in a hotel covered in blood and be like, yeah, we need a room, we're effed up, you know what I mean, we need some help. I don't know where this can go. Obviously, we are getting 2 more Evil Dead films and an Evil Dead animated show, so we could see Beth and Cassie again, who knows? But again, it does kind of end on a pretty somber, sad note where this whole movie, you know, you care for these characters in a way. You know, again, I'm not trying to say this is like the sequel trilogy or the Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit where like you really, really love these characters, but you care for them enough where when they get hurt or dead, you're like, oh, that sucks, you know what I mean? More than, say, Evil Dead 2, for example, right? But you get, you know, this whole message of, you know, the first Evil Dead trilogy where it's like, oh, you have to kill the Deadite by live burial or dismemberment or whatever. But in this one, this book is a lot more different where it still kills you and possesses you, but this one really, really loves to, it almost like sexually, I don't know how to word it. They don't like sexually turned on by it, but like it almost gives you that sick, perverted way, you know, like when someone's dying, Ellie's outside like sadistically laughing and just loving it, you know what I mean? So it's really kind of depressing and disturbing how they just love chaos and violence, these Deadites. And, you know, Beth listens to that thing and they're like, the only thing you can do is run. You can't live burial. I tried chopping them up and they just kept dancing. I burned them. They danced in the flames. You know, some really good symbolism and really good writing in that sequence. And that kind of shows the audience, oh, these Deadites aren't effing around. So even in the end, when Beth literally puts them in a wood chipper and they're all just pink blobs of goo everywhere, you know, you see like the little individual meat chunks kind of like vibrating on the floor, you know, showing that these things, even if you chop them up, they're still going to somehow find their way to get you. And of course, that the end of the film is the beginning of the film, right? That kind of storybook sequence. Storybook sequence where it opens up like a book. You know, it begins with Evil Dead Rising, and then of course that is now the end of the film too. So the end of this really is the beginning, like I said, where the Evil Dead is rising from the river, which is really cool. That yeah, like you can't kill this thing, which is kind of disturbing. But yeah, man, the kills are great, the acting is great, the writing is great. I love the setting. I think it's really cool. The jump scares are good. Obviously, you know, that FOV shot where she's kind of looking through the door. Effing fantastic, where she goes, open up now. Like, it's so good, you know what I mean? She is such a good actress to play. Obviously, she's beautiful. I think she's in the Viking show. And hey, I'm just going to say it. She's kind of hot as a Deadite, too. I'm just saying, okay? She's better than Sheila as a Deadite, okay? I'm just saying. But still, it was really cool to see this mom just go completely haywire. And obviously it is sad, right? You know, when everyone's dead and they kind of show like it looks like a family photo when they're like a theme park and they're like a water ride or something, like a log ride, kind of like Splash Mountain. Not racist. And you see Splash Mountain going down or whatever log ride they're on, it looks like. And it just shows them all having fun. So yeah, like it's tragic, right? Like the Deadites destroyed a perfectly, for the most part, functional family. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the most depressing part of it. But again, Beth is able to rise up, get it? Rise up and become a new person and take on this new responsibility and kind of have ownership in her life. It does suck that her sister died and a lot of the other people died in the family as well. Pretty much everyone on that floor did. But it was really cool to see that Beth is able to kind of, you know, take on a new life with Cassie and kind of somehow manage to find their way out. So yeah, man, I think, you know, maybe not as brutal and consistently exhausting as 2013. I think this is still scary, still brutal, still violent. It's everything you want from Evil Dead, but it has a really good emotional core to it, which again, you're not really getting in a lot of these horror movies now. It makes you care about the characters. It's funny at times, you know, in a dark comedic way. It's also extremely brutal and unsettling. It's also really, really, you can't take your eyes off of it, you know what I mean? It's a really addicting film to watch, and yeah, man, I think it's this might be, I don't know, now that I've finished Evil Dead, apart from Hell, I think that this might be the best made Evil Dead movie, but I think Evil Dead 2013 is still the most brutal and like exhausting movie to watch in a good way. But I think this one is, I think, probably the best made in terms of the writing and the themes and all that, which is good. But yeah, man, upon rewatch, man, I loved all of these movies for the most part. I loved the show, and I can't wait to get From Hell and watch that as well. But that is going to be the end of my Evil Dead review. I hope you guys enjoyed all my movie reviews for this and my TV show review. Again, we're not done. Once I get From Hell, we'll finish it up. But I am going to be moving on to, I'm watching John Wick Chapter 4 for fun, and then I'm going to move... this is December 1st. Tomorrow is at December 2nd is actually the first 2 episodes of Star Wars Skeleton Crew, which I will be doing a little first impressions review on that as well, and then we're going to move on to the Ms. Marvel show. So give me a little bit of time here. I got to watch the whole show before I do the review, and I have school. I'm almost done with school, don't worry, but I'm almost on Christmas break, almost here. But But yeah, I will be getting to all this stuff eventually, and we're going to be doing the advent calendars on my YouTube Shorts, so look out for that. And yeah, man, I got a whole bunch of fun stuff coming up as well, especially during the break when I have more free time. We'll be getting to these things a lot quicker. But yeah, thank you very much for watching these Evil Dead reviews. Tell me down below what your opinion is on the Evil Dead films. What's your favorite from worst to best or best to worst? What do you think of the Evil Dead TV show? And are you excited for the future of the Evil Dead franchise? Again, I love Evil Dead Rise. It's a great movie. It's really, really fun and scary and violent and depressing and sad. But it's pretty much everything you want from this franchise and more, especially, with the emotional core as well. And yeah, man, it's just a badass time in the end, especially when she kills all the Deadites. And yeah, it's scary in all the right ways. It's got really good effects, great jump scares, really good morals. And I think that at the end of the day, you're going to walk away pretty happy with this film. Again, I loved it. I know there's some people saying, oh, there's a woman in it, it's woke. But, when you get the basement-dwelling turds out of the side and you actually watch the movie as a movie, it's actually really great. So again, tell me down below what your thoughts on Evil Dead Rise and the Evil Dead franchise are. Thank you again for watching this. And yeah, lots more to come. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video. And join us by subscribing. Thanks.